Hello everyone, welcome back to our subject Computer Organization and Architecture. Today we are moving to have the control unit design by means of microprogram. Okay, in the previous topic we have seen about hardwired control unit design. So in today's topic we are going to see how the control unit could be designed using microprogram. Okay, so in hardwired control unit all the control signals are generated by using the hardwares like encoder, decoder, then step counters, those things are used. So there we have seen it is quite fast because we are using the logic gates and hardwares to generate the control signals. So instead of that, here and of course one more disadvantage in hardware is its flexibility is very less, since everything is hardwired, and if there is a need to change somehow means it's quite difficult. Here the alternate approach is microprogrammed control unit design. It overcomes the flexibility of hardwired control unit. Here the control signals are generated by means of microprograms, and this one is a little slow when compared to hardwired, and we will see why slow and how the flexibility is increased. All those things we are going to cover in this today's topic, microprogram control unit. And this topic you have to pay a little close attention, otherwise it might be little confusing. So I am requesting everyone to pay more attention to this topic. Okay, and moving on to the definition, the main purpose of this control unit design is to generate the control signals so that it will take care of the entire execution of the processor. Only by having the control signals enabled, the respective operations will take place inside the processor. So how the control signals are generated, that we are seeing it in we have seen in the previous topic and in today's topic also. Okay, so control signals are generated by a program similar to that of machine language programs in microprogrammed control unit. Okay, so it is a microprogram control unit. It is a method of control unit design. Okay, and before getting into deep, let's have some of the common terms involved in designing the control unit using microprogram. First one and foremost common term is control word, or we'll be saying as a CW, a word whose individual bits represent various control signals. So control word is nothing but a word where in this word there are n number of bits, and each and every bit represent a various control signals like add, program counter in, program counter out, register in, register out. So those are the control signals. Each and every bit will represent the various control signals. And one more term, microroutine. It is a sequence of control words corresponding to the control sequence of the machine instruction constitutes the microroutine. So what does it mean? So a sequence of control words. Okay, so that's nothing but the microroutine. And micro instruction is nothing but individual control words in microroutine is said to be the micro instruction. So I will make it more clear with this next slide. Okay, so take an example. So this is a micro instruction. Okay, so for this control sequence which we have covered already in the previous topic, for the instruction to execute add R3, within the square bracket R3 is given, it means R3 has the memory address. Go and fetch that memory address. It provides the first operand for the instruction add, and this is the second operand. The second operand for the instruction add is having in R1 register. Add the value and store it in R1. So for this we have seen we have covered already. These are the controls signals has to be generated, and it takes 7 control steps to complete this single operation. Okay, so for this example we have seen in the previous class about hardwired control unit design. So the same thing we are going to replace the same program for same control signals for using micro programmed. Okay, so let's see here. This table is an example for micro instruction, where here we have the control signals. So these are nothing but the control signals, various control signals. And see here, in the first line, PC out is enabled, this signal is active. So PC out, okay, PC out is set to be 1, and memory address register in is set to be 1, read is set to be 1, and select 4. So here select a single single control signal is used to select. Okay, so if it is 1 means it is select 4, if it is 0 means the meaning is y is selected. And add, so add is set to be 1 and z in, that's it. And remaining control signals are inactive at the very first line, and this entire line constitute a control word. Okay, so in the control word, each and every individual bits represents the activation or inactivation of the control signals. Okay, and this complete 7 steps constitute a micro routine, and in the micro routine, this complete 7 step is said to be a micro routine as per the definition, a sequence of control words corresponding to the control sequence of machine instruction. Okay, and in this micro routine, the this one and the individual control word is said to be a micro instruction. Okay, this is said to be micro instruction. This is more or less equal to the definition of control word. Okay, and moving on to the basic organization of micro programmed control unit. So here there is one special memory to store the micro routine called as control store. Okay, so the micro routines for all the instructions in the instruction set computer are stored in a special memory called as control store, because here this needs to be stored in somewhere else, is it not? Then after storing this information, we need to fetch this first control word, then second, third, fourth, likewise it has to go on, is it not? So for that information, for those micro routines have are stored in a special memory in a computer called as the control store. Okay, and to go in an sequential order, we have the program counter named as micro program counter, not the program counter. Here it is the micro program counter. So it is used, it will be automatically incremented based on each clock cycle to fetch the next control word, which is stored in the control store. Okay, and the same and this will generate the respective control signals. Okay, so it will give out the control word, and inside the control word we will get to know what are all the control signals are active or inactive for the given instruction. Okay, so given instruction is this is the instruction. The instruction gets stored in the IR instruction register, and this instruction register has an output labeled having the starting address generator. It has the starting address generator block. It gives the starting address of the micro instruction. Okay, where it gets stored in the control store. That starting address it will give, and that is given as an input to the micro program control unit, and it will take care of fetching the remaining all instructions, micro instructions in this control store memory. Okay, I hope you are following with me. It is quite simple. Only thing is, here you should not confuse this structure with the actual ALU implementation or fetching the information from the memory. So this block is mainly used to generate the control signals. Okay, so this we are dealing inside the control unit, not inside the ALU. Okay, so this is the basic organization of microprogram control unit, and this has one drawback that we will see. Okay, the advantages and disadvantages, drawback. So advantage is when compared to hardwired microprogram control unit, it is simple to design, so it is cheaper and less error prone, because we could modify the things very easily when compared to hardwired, and it is software implementation more flexible, so it means the changes can be accommodated quickly, and correction can be made easily when compared to hardwired control unit. Disadvantage is it is slower than hardware, because it requires some time to access the information which is stored in the control memory, control store memory. Okay, CM, it's not CM, this is CS, control store memory. The flexibility is achieved at some extra hardware cost due to control memory and its access circuitry. It means the flexibility means the advantages. How we get the advantages means we need to put some extra hardware cost, like control store memory, and the design of that basic organization of microprogram control unit. Okay, and the drawback, as I said in the previous slide, it has one drawback. The drawback is in the previous block of microprogram control unit, it doesn't check the condition codes or the external interrupt or some other inputs that make the execution current execution to be varied. For example, so if some interrupt is coming in, it means that interrupt has to be serviced first. Okay, so the previous block diagram which we have seen, that doesn't provide that facility for external code checking, like some division by 0 or some other flag conditions. It doesn't check, and it also doesn't support external input like interrupt response. Nothing is there. So that is one little drawback that of course could be overridden by redesigning that previous block by using the conditional branch micro instruction. Okay, I hope you are following what the drawback and how to rectify it. Okay, so the drawback is, so it doesn't, the previous block diagram, this one, it doesn't get the external inputs, is it not? So it goes smoothly without responding to external interrupt or without checking the flag conditions. But in real case this is not so. We must design it so that it works in all situations. So for that we need to have a little change in that block diagram by introducing the conditional branch micro instruction. Here you go. So here in the previous block diagram we have only the starting address generator. Now the instruction register gives an input to the starting and branch address generator, where it will take care of handling the external interrupts, like external interrupts and condition code checks. Okay, it will do all those things by introducing the branching. So let's see in detail about the microroutine for branch condition less than 0. So this is the condition. Suppose if you are fetching this instruction, so the first 3 line constitute the fetch phase and followed by the execution phase. See here, so we are fetching the instruction from the memory. So by means of PC has the address, and it is given to the memory address register, and read operation is taking place, and simultaneously program counter is incremented to fetch the next instruction, and the updated program counter is value is stored in ZIN, and the same is moved to PC in YIN and waiting for the memory function to complete. Once if it is over, that fetched instruction, so this is the fetched instruction. Now that fetched instruction is happens to be of branch instruction. Okay, previously we have seen the branch instruction for unconditional branching. Now this is conditional branching. We are checking branch less than 0. So if it's supposed to be this instruction is supposed to be of branch instruction, it needs to jump, is it not? So till the condition gets satisfied. So branch to starting address to micro appropriate micro routine. So this is the appropriate micro routine when this branch instruction comes in at line number 3. Okay, so here what's happening at line number 3, it has to jump to the micro instruction location 25. Okay, so at 25 it checks the condition whether the branch is less than 0 or still it is negative. When it reaches less than 0, the condition failed, then it means what, after this branch instruction is executed, it needs to move to the next instruction, is it not? So that's what, if the condition is satisfied, then the control will be transferred to the micro instruction 0. It means it will move over here to fetch the next instruction, not the current instruction. Okay, so otherwise what it will happen, PC value is updated to hold the branch address. Okay, and this is quite simple. So here this micro routine explains about how branching is handled. Okay, once when there is a conditional branch, so what's happening, it is jumping into the micro routine or the micro instructions. So this is said to be micro routine. Set of micro instruction is called micro routine. So inside the micro routine, it will generate the appropriate control signals based on the condition. Like it will check whether the condition is satisfied or not. When the branch instruction fails, what happens, that branch execution is over and we need to proceed with the next instruction of the branch, is it not? So that will be handled by this line number 25. And if this line number 25 is not satisfied, means these are the control signals to be enabled to get the target address of this current branch instruction. Okay, so its respective control the block diagram is given along with the conditional branching of the micro program. Okay, so micro program is nothing but micro routine. Okay, so the terms are different but the concept is same. We could replace micro program as micro routine, both are same. Okay, and here along with this instruction register input for this starting and branch address generator, it accepts the input from the external sources like condition codes and external inputs like interrupt. So it will handle all those things. And once it is over, the starting address of this micro instruction given to micro program counter, and it will go and fetch that sequence of instructions from the control board. And for each and every address location, it works in a single it works in a clock period. For the first clock period, it will generate the respective control word and it automatically goes to the next clock period to get the next micro instruction from the control word, and it goes on. Okay, and this is all about handling the branching in micro program control unit, how branch micro instructions are handled. Okay, and moving on to the formatting of individual micro instructions. Okay, a straightforward way to structure the micro instruction is used to assign a bit portion to each and every control signal, as we have seen. This is the straight way approach. For each and every control signals, we are assigning either active or inactive by means of zeros and ones, is it not? This is one way which we have seen it right now. And of course this is inefficient in the sense, in what way, the length. Okay, suppose if we have control signals for the complete instruction set computer ranges to 100, 200 means we need to accommodate 200 bits for each and every control word or micro instruction, is it not? It is very inefficient. So length we have to reduce it in some way because we can't store the see here in this example. Suppose take the smaller bit. Suppose in line number 4, 1, 2, 3, only 3 bits are enabled and remaining are 0. And suppose if the control signal ranges to 100 instruction means, so remaining all the 96 7 bits are said to be 0, and we need to accommodate all those 97 bits to 0 and remaining 3 bits to be 1. Is it not? It's quite lengthy and it is costlier. Somehow we need to manage this storage so as to reduce the length of this instruction. Okay. So what's the concept behind that? To reduce the instruction means we have to group the instructions that are mutually exclusive. For example, read and write, two control signals are there and you are all aware. So read is used to read control signal is enabled when we read an information from the memory, and write is enabled when we store information into the memory. So both are mutually exclusive. It means both cannot be active at a time, only one is either active, is it not? So for that it's enough to have one bit to represent active or inactive. If suppose if you assume one bit is enough to store two information, is it not? So we can assume 1 to read and 0 to write. Whenever this control read write control signal, assuming it, okay, so assume that is the word that is the letter R. Okay, this is letter R, omitted R, W. Okay, so whenever in this control, this is the control signal, whenever we are reading from the memory, make this bit to be 1, and if it is 0 means we are writing into the memory. So one bit is enough to store the two control signals. So we need to group in such a way these two are mutually exclusive. It means both can't happen at a time, only one will happen at a time. Okay, that's the concept of grouping the mutually exclusive signals so as to reduce the length. Okay, so here comes the example. You please pay more attention, otherwise it will be a bit confusing. So here we are going to discuss the partial format of the micro instructions. So we haven't given the complete thing, only what's it, only the partial format is given and considered here. So F1, F2, F3, these are nothing but we are grouping the mutually exclusive control signals. Okay, so see here we have 4 bit to represent these out signals like PC out, MDR out, Z out. It means what? So only one will be active at a time. It means when see here register out. Okay, so register out means what does it mean? So one of these values alone will be placed in the single processor. So here we are going to discuss this example in a single bus organization, not about the multiple bus organization. Okay, the examples which we are seeing, keep in mind the things which we are discussing all about is in single bus organization. Okay, so only in single bus organization we will fall into the situation like this. So what does it mean in a single bus? Only one data can be placed at a time. Either PC out means program counter data will be in the bus. Z out means this register value will be kept in a bus only at a time. So group these things all together. These are mutually exclusive. And suppose if we have 16 combination like this, means it's enough to have 4 bits. Okay, and see here the first all 40 is said to be no transfer. It means so nothing is placed in the internal bus organization. Likewise we have these many in, so these are the control signals will be are mutually exclusive. It means only one will be active at a time, and this all value 3 zeros represent no transfer. Nothing is ready to read the input from the internal bus. Likewise some things, so see here 4 bit for addition for ALU operations. Some 16 ALU functions are there, those are represented by 0 to 15. Okay, totally 16. So here all 4 zeros indicates the add, and remaining groups we have seen there is no transfer when all zeros. Okay, so likewise totally if we count there will be 42 control signals in this micro instructions. Okay, so like you could count it 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, excluding that no transfer, 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, and here 16 36 37 38 39, 40, 41, 42. So totally 42 control signals are there. Okay, we are grouping it. So if so we have grouped it and made it as how many bits is enough. We no need to have 42 bits, as we have seen in the previous example. If we generate if we assign 1 bit for each and every control signal, means we need 42 control signals, but that could be reduced to less than 20. I think if you count it, it will get 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 uh, 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2. This one, if you count it, it will be around, I think, 19. So in round of please see here, it's extra going on. So it's a partial format. We could take it as an 20 bits. Okay, so instead of storing it in 42 individual bits, we can limit it into 20 if we go for reducing the length of the bits by grouping the mutually exclusive control signals. Okay, and what's the price paid for this scheme? Okay, what's the price in the sense how it is going to affect it? The solution is it requires more hardware, little more hardware implementation, because so can anyone guess why we need a little more hardware implementation? Because to fetch one of the value, we need a decoder, is it not? So if we give 4-bit input to the decoder, it will give these combinations. So decoding takes place to check which control signal is active. Okay, so that's what it is. A little hardware requirement is there, but the advantage is we could reduce the length of an instruction from 42 to close to 20. So that's what we are grouping it. Okay, this organization we are saying as an vertical organization, and the previous one, this example is said to be horizontal organization, because so each and every control signal has its own bit storage. This is said to be this is said to be horizontal organization, and this way of storing the control signal is said to be vertical organization. This is said to be vertical organization. Okay, so grouping, the way of grouping the control signals fall into these two categories. Okay, horizontal means minimally encoded scheme is used, and whereas vertical means highly encoded schemes are used to reduce the number of to reduce the length of the instruction. So it is little slower because it requires the considerable encoding method to get to know what that instruction is. Here this is fast because little encoding is there, little encoding is enough. Okay, and long format, so it means 42 bits 42 bits are needed to store that microcontrol board. If when we consider about the previous example, and here it is shorter formats like 20 bit is enough. So it limits the vertical organization, limits the parallelism, whereas horizontal, it increases the high degree of parallelism. Yes or no? Yes, we can we could achieve high parallelism in horizontal organization, because so each and every control signal has its own a bit representation, whereas here we are grouping it, and we need an extra encoding decoding scheme to get to know what that instruction is. So both as a based on the situation, we could go for vertical or horizontal organization. Okay, and moving on to micro program sequencing. So as I told you, micro program or micro routine, both are same. Okay, so having a separate micro routine for each and every instruction. Okay, so for each and every instruction there is an micro routine. It means sequence of control signals to be generated for each and every instruction. So if we consider about the complete instruction set computer, then it is quite large. The micro instructions are quite large and requires enormous amount of memory space of control store, is it not? So longer execution time, because it takes more time to carry out the required branches. So what does it mean? So let's see with one complete execution of this instruction: add source comma register. Okay, so suppose take this example and consider what happens if we are fetching the operands in either one of these modes like register, auto increment, auto decrement and indexing. Okay, so this is the instruction, and what's the micro routine to handle this execution with different modes. So only after reading this instruction, then the instruction register will decode to know so whether it is an whether the addressing mode of this source is register mode or indirect auto increment mode or auto decrement mode or indexing mode, is it not? So just pay close attention to this flow chart for executing the instruction. Okay, so here in this flow chart I think it's visible for you because the flow chart is a little bigger. I squeezed this flow chart to make to have it in a single slide. Okay, I think it's visible for you. See here, let me convert into pencil. Okay, so each and every box is said to be the micro instruction. Okay, so in each and every box, so this rectangular box, we are storing one micro instruction, and we are representing for easy representation, we are using the address in octal representation. Okay, instead of binary form, we are representing it in octal representation, and we are going for the fetch. And after fetching, if suppose if that instruction falls into any one of the addressing modes, then then the respective micro routine has to be executed. Okay, so this the micro routine has to be executed if the address specified is indexing mode, and these are the set of micro instruction has to be executed for auto increment, auto decrement and register indirect and register direct. Okay, so all has to be calculated and consider here at alpha. There comes the branch, all the three represents the again represents the micro instruction with branching to the location 170. All three will go to here, and consider this one register indirect. It needs to bypass this address once instead of 170 to 171, is it not? So suppose if you assume the current address is said to be 170. Okay, so from 170 it need to bypass to 171. So for this it will do one more technique called as bit ORing. Okay, so branch address modification using bit ORing. So what that bit ORing says means, it needs to this instruction, this mode has to skip this address 170 current address and has to execute this 171. Okay, if suppose the given address is of register indirect mode. Okay, and currently while after executing it, if the current address is set to be 170, the register indirect mode should not go to execute, it should not go to 170, it needs to go to 171. So how to fetch the next address? So by means of bit ORing. For example, I'll represent this in terms of binary. Suppose so the binary address is of 10, and we are in a need to move to sorry, this is of number 2 in decimal. So from 2 to 3 we need to move. So bit ORing, what it says means, so make it as the binary representation for 2 is 10, 3 is 11, and if you do OR operation, OR means you will be knowing the truth table of it. 0 plus 1 is 1 and 1 plus 1 is 1. So this is R, and you will get this address, is it not? So this is a bit ORing concept when we need to bypass from one address to the another address location. Okay, and the thing goes on. Okay, so to execute a single instruction, and if that instruction happens to be one of these addressing modes, these are the micro instructions has to be handled. Okay, so with this topic, I'll stop the micro instruction control unit design, and in the next class we will see more about wide branch addressing, and next field next address field followed by emulation. Okay, some of the few topics we are going to see it in the next topic, and till then, thank you all.